Welcome back, everyone, to Seahawks Now. We have some new contract details on the Sam Darnold contract and some positive news, I think, for the Seahawks when it comes to how committed they have to be to Sam Darnold long term. We also speculate over whether Von Miller could be coming to Seattle and Uchenna Nwosu restructuring his deal and giving up his jersey number for a new member of the team. Right here, all that and more on Seahawks Now. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps the channel. And of course, comment down below. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Are you getting pumped as I am for Sam Darnold, for the NFL draft coming up? How do you guys feel about everything going on in the Seahawks world right now? Because there is a lot. Let's get started with the Sam Darnold contract details, guys. Sam Darnold, it was previously reported the deal was worth $110 million. Then it was reported that it was actually worth $100 million over 3 years. That would have been an average annual value of $33 million a season. And then it was reported that $55 million of those $100 million were guaranteed. Now we do have some new contract details that have been revealed. Sam Darnold in 2025 is going to get $37 million. He's going to make $37 million, and most of that money is guaranteed money. It will be a pretty significant cap hit for next year. But then after that, the contract can pretty much be voided after one season, and the Seahawks would only owe a series of $18 million over 2 years if they wanted to get rid of him. So essentially, this is a one-year contract, right? Yes, technically it is a 3-year deal, and technically he could make up to $100 million. But if Sam Darnold struggles in 2025, if he does not play well, the Seahawks would only owe him $9 million a season for the next 2 years. They can pretty easily get out of this contract. It's a 1-year deal. And that, I think, is a good news for the Seahawks, because I think the idea of, man, we got to pay Darnold for the next 3 years, and now we're not going to draft a quarterback, and we're not going to, I think that was a lot of people's reaction when they first signed Darnold. It's like, yeah, Darnold was good, but do we really want to give him 3 years? Do we really want to give him $100 million? That's a lot of money. And I think there was a lot of people who were hoping this Seattle would draft a quarterback this year and go in that direction. And signing Darnold, I think, at first felt like a clear, no, we're not going to go in that direction. But seeing this contract, I think now it is still very possible that the Seahawks could draft a quarterback. I think that the idea could be, we're going to do what the Falcons did with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr., except instead of that, where the Falcons still owe Kirk Cousins about $40 million for this season, we can get out of Sam Darnold in 1 year. So if Darnold doesn't play well, which I hate to say that's a possibility, but it certainly is, because we've seen him play really poorly in the New York Jets. So if Darnold doesn't play well, we can get out of that contract very, very easily. And it would only be a 1-year thing, and we could even potentially draft a quarterback this year or next year and then let him sit for a year under Darnold before handing him the keys to the franchise. So I really like that. It just makes this move even better for me. It makes it feel like it's less of a 3-year commitment, and it's more of a, this is a 1 year. This is a 1 year, prove it for Sam Darnold. And if Darnold plays well, then we get to keep him for 2 more years. But if he plays poorly, we only need to keep him for 1. It's not going to financially harm us to move off of him after 1 season. So yeah, that's big time for me. I think that makes me feel a lot better about this whole Sam Darnold contract thing. All right, guys, there's a big time free agent that has still not signed. Should Seattle pursue linebacker Von Miller in free agency? This is a really interesting question. Von Miller has really kind of been a thorn in the Seahawks' side when he played with the Rams and previously with Denver. Was he on that Denver team when we played them in the Super Bowl? I think he was. Either way, Von Miller, definitely a veteran. When it comes to the contract, I think he was with Denver when they played us in the Super Bowl. It all comes to how much he's asking for. But this is a guy who is, truthfully, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, straight up, Hall of Famer, no doubt. 2011, 15 games started. 2012, 16 games started. He was the AP Player of the Year after winning Rookie of the Year in 2011. 2013, bit of a down year. But then in 2014, All-Pro. 2015, All-Pro. 2016, All-Pro. And you get the gist. 2017, All-Pro. 2018, All-Pro. And then in 2019, he makes the Pro Bowl. Since 2019, though, the past 4 years, it has been a bit of a struggle for him. In the past 4 years, he's started 26 games. He has made 91 tackles, 23.5 sacks, 40 quarterback hits, 36 tackles for a loss. So he's only averaging 6 sacks a season, 10 quarterback hits per season, and 9 tackles for a loss per season. That's not fantastic. However, still good. He still ended up with 6 sacks last year. He still ended up with 8 quarterback hits. He did not have a single safety. However, his approximate value score was all the way down to 1. So although he was getting sacks, he wasn't really getting tackles, and he was kind of a defensive liability. The pros of adding Von Miller to be an outside lineman is you're adding a veteran leader to the defense, which I do think that the defense already has a couple solid vets, right? They already have Leonard Williams. They just signed DeMarcus Lawrence. Von Miller would add to that group, and it would give you maybe the most stacked defense ever in terms of future Hall of Famers, because I think DeMarcus Lawrence could also be a future Hall of Famer. And Von Miller there too. However, the cons to signing Von Miller is it feels like he's really slowing down. Last year, he was a bit of a liability. So how much money would I give to Von Miller? I'd probably offer him a $5 or $6 million. And I think for Von, it comes down to how much do I love the game of football? Because, yeah, he could play on a cheaper contract for almost any team in this league. But on an expensive contract that he might be expecting, no team's going to want to pay him. So the question that Von Miller has to ask himself is, do I love this sport enough to play on a cheap contract? Or do I want to hang it up? The good news, though, is if he does want to play on a cheap contract, Seattle would make sense, because I think Seattle is building a championship defense. So if he wants a chance to play for a really, really good defense, to play back on the West Coast, and it felt like he really enjoyed playing with the Rams, and yeah, a chance to compete for another Super Bowl, which I do think the Seahawks have a good chance to do this year, is compete for a Super Bowl, then I can see Von Miller saying, yeah, I'll play for a pay cut. I'll take a pay cut to come play in Seattle. But that's all up to him. One guy who did just take a pay cut to play in Seattle was Uchenna Nwosu. Seattle Seahawks edge rusher Uchenna Nwosu restructuring his contract and also gave up his number. Uchenna Nwosu used to wear number 10. He's going to be giving that number to Cooper Kupp. So he will be having a new number next year. The new contract, it is a pay cut, and it really is helping with cap space mostly. They've agreed to a reworked contract that will lower his 2025 cap number. On his previous deal, he had 2 years, $26.5 million left. He was scheduled to make $15 million this year. His new deal will now pay him $20 million over the next 2 seasons. He'll make $8 million this year, and then another $11 million next year. He can actually make $5 million back via incentives. So he took a $7 million pay cut, but if he gets enough sacks and plays enough, he can make almost all that money back. He's going to be wearing number 7, which was the former Geno Smith number, obviously, and giving number 10 to Cooper Kupp. The way that Cooper Kupp convinced him to do that is Cooper Kupp made a donation to Nwosu's foundation, which I think is pretty cool. And a fun little connection. Nwosu, when he's healthy, he's really good. He has definitely struggled with injuries, so I see why they're doing this. And kudos to him for taking that pay cut, taking the incentive-laden structure. My guess is he was told, if you don't take this, we are considering to just release you, right, to save that money. But I'm glad he's going to be coming back because, again, when he's healthy, he's really good. It's just a question of can he stay healthy, which last year he was unfortunately not really able to do that. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video for Seahawks Now. Make sure you Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another upload, and as always, guys, until next time, go Seahawks.